Hello everyone. Hi there. Setting up the rest of the stream. And for the stream, for you guys, hi. I'm Dave. Some of you might know that, some of you might not. But you might have guessed it from my previous and my new channel name, basically. Because they both included the name Dave in various ways. You know, in different ways at least. So, yeah. Hi. Mr. Lincoln Jason, hi. Thanks for tuning in. I hope I'm live. I think so. And I don't know why YouTube actually blocked that comment. Because it simply says hello in German. Hallo. Gonna say to you the same, you know. Hallo zusammen. It's already getting warm. You know, it's always the same with live streams. After like 1 or 2 minutes, it just gets too warm, and I, you know, have to take off my sweater. So, yeah, Miss Clarissa, Laurelie, hi, thanks for tuning in, and Carl Creighton is here as well. Hi, Carl. Thank you guys for tuning in. Finally, a new live stream. Looking forward to this one. Nico Serrano, you're alive. Nice glasses as well. Thank you very much. Yeah, usually I don't wear them in my videos because they reflect the light too much and it doesn't really look good. And it might also be a bit complicated in terms of, you know, green screens and reflections and everything. So, but I figured because sometimes, you know, I'm struggling with reading the chat properly, as you might be able to tell if you've watched my more recent live streams. And the reasons for that are that my eyes don't get better, of course, you know, as I get older. And and yeah, that's just, and now I said to myself, you know what, I'm just gonna stream with my glasses. Die Brille, by the way. It's really interesting, by the way, you know, jumping right into a little German lesson here. It's quite interesting linguistically speaking, because in German you actually would use a singular term as the standard form. Die Brille, singular. Die Brillen, plural. Whereas in English, you would use the plural form as the standard form. The glasses, you know, multiple, two, to be precise. So, it's die Brille. Oop. By the way, the scene is shaking a little bit because I'm typing, but it will stop in a minute. In a second. Glasses. You know? I mean, it would be strange to say glass, because, you know, obviously it's two, but yeah, little interesting linguistic difference when it comes to English and German. Sunflower Vegan, hi! Hello, I'm definitely glad I caught this live stream. Long time no see. Yes. And I'm really glad you have tuned in. That is really, really cool. Indeed, long time no see. Thank you very much for taking the time. And for finding the time, of course, you know. It's always a bit difficult, I feel, when it comes to, you know, our everyday lives. And usually the past couple of streams took place on Fridays. And yeah, it's pretty much the first Saturday live stream in a long time, I think. And can't promise that I'm gonna be able to stream, you know, on Saturdays all the time from now on, but whenever it's possible, I'm gonna try, because I feel like more people might have some spare time for streams and stuff, you know, on Saturdays. I might be wrong. I don't know. You're playing chess right now, okay? By the way, that is das Schach in German. Schach, with the, you know, slightly, a more throaty Schach. Das Schach. Yeah, well, with the time difference, I'm at work while you're streaming. Oh, okay. I hope I'm not distracting you too much, you know, and you can work properly. But of course, you know, the stream is safe for work, I think. At least I don't plan on changing that, you know. Guys, cheers to you guys. And cheers also to the rebirth of the channel in a way. I mean, it sounds bigger than it actually is. It's just a change in the name. But yeah, I feel really good about it. I don't know about you guys, but yeah. Cheers. Oh, I see. I got that wrong. Sorry. I see. Prost. Yeah. Time for big brain moves. Yeah. I had an eventful morning shipping off 2 of our horses. One did not like the trailer and flopped onto the ground, refusing to move for like an hour. Wow. I'm exhausted. I can imagine that. Wow. Poor horses, of course, you know. It's I think, you know, some stuff like that, even though it's necessary at times, of course, is very stressful to animals. And I'm, you know, I guess we all totally get that. So, but it can also be stressful for the owner, of course. So, yeah, Prost to you guys. And to the new channel name, the channel identity. So I wonder, did you already get used to the new channel name? Or is it still, you know, do you still think of Vlog Dave? Which isn't a bad thing, of course, you know. For me, you know, I personally also had to get used to it because when I was filming the news video a couple of days ago, I actually filmed the ending sequence, of course, with my typical phrase, I'm your Vlog Dave, tschüss und bis zum nächsten Mal. And then I felt like, you know, oh, wait a minute, can't say that anymore. I mean, parts of it, yes, but yeah. And I also had to get used to it a little bit because, you know, I've said that for the majority of like 6 years or 7 years even. So of course I also have to get used to it, but yeah, I really, really, really like the new channel name. I still think of Vlog Dave, yep. Yo Dave, hi! Thanks for tuning in. If it's okay to ask, when it's more appropriate to use piano or clavier, or which is better to use? There is not, I don't think there's a big semantic difference there. I guess you can interchange them. I'm not a, you know, musician in the technical sense of the word, so I don't know if there is or if there are slight differences in terms of the structure of those, whether a piano is structured differently compared to a piano, for instance. What did I say? A clavier. So it's das Klavier. Both neuter terms, by the way, neuter nouns. Das Klavier, das Piano. And both mean the same, piano. I think, if I'm not, I could be wrong. As I've said, I'm not an expert when it comes to that instrument. And, you know, if there are semantic differences, I don't think there are, but I could be wrong. I think you can interchange those nouns. And it doesn't make a big difference. Tiffany, hi! Thanks for tuning in. How are you doing? I'm used to the channel name mostly, but I'm also a newer subscriber. I like this name better though. Much more catchy and pleasant sounding. Thank you very much. Yeah, I feel the same actually. You know, I felt like after I made the channel update video, I felt like maybe people might get me wrong because they might get the impression that I didn't like my old channel name at all. That isn't the case, you know. I liked it enough to actually call my channel that, of course, at the beginning of everything here, of this whole endeavor, but I grew out of it. I just grew out of it. And I felt like one of the biggest struggles I had when it comes to, or when it came, I have to say now, to the channel name, the old one, Vlog Dave, or German with Vlog Dave, is that it's just too misleading because it may give you or new subscribers, new viewers the impression that my channel is mainly based on vlogs, which it isn't. Vlogs are a part of the channel, but they are not the only thing that I do. So that is one of the reasons why I decided to, you know, just do it. Don't want to repeat everything I said in my news video. If you want to find out more why I changed the channel name, feel free to watch that video. It's the second to last video right now from when I'm live streaming. I think it's called Channel Update, you know. German with Vlog Dave becomes definitely. So I would say the new channel name suits more. Thank you. Yeah. Someone actually proposed the idea that, you know, I could actually name the channel Definitely German if I wanted to highlight that it's about the German language and culture. And while I get that idea, and I don't think it's a bad idea, I don't want to do that because that is also one of the reasons, or it harkens back to what I just said, basically, is that I don't want to limit my channel through the channel name anymore. Because, or, you know, to put it in other words, a name like Definitely, which can mean anything and nothing, gives me more creative freedom in a way, potentially at least. You know, if I wanted to try something else, you know, besides the German language stuff in the future, it wouldn't be too much of a hassle for me to do that as well. And yeah, that is one of the reasons. And it also sounds more like a brand, I feel, which maybe also a good thing for, you know, future ideas that I have for the channel. I'm not gonna reveal them because I don't know which ones will work out and which ones will actually see the light of day at the end. But yeah. And of course, and you know, it basically, people that know me personally will know that and can actually say, yeah, that's true. I'm a lover of puns. You know, plays with words, and that is also part of why I love that channel name. It's short, it's simple, it's a pun, it's ambiguous in a way. Yeah, it's the essence of what I am like, you know, in terms of using a language, whether it's English or German. Is das Klavier maybe like an upright piano and das Piano a keyboard or vice versa? But sure, you probably know better. I don't know. I mean, you know, maybe I could be wrong though. Maybe das Klavier is more like a classical piano. You know, you see at concerts, for instance, classical concerts, like a grand piano, you know. And das Piano may also be another term for a keyboard, you know, synthesizers, because you might have like an electric keyboard, electric piano, and then it's das E-Piano in German. And I think das E-Piano for electric piano as a term is more common than E-Klavier. But then again, you know, I'm no expert when it comes to that. It's a good question though, because sometimes, you know, that is one of those things, you know, semantic differences and subtleties that might be hard to really grasp as someone who learns German as a second language. So I totally get that. Ich liebe Deutsch. Same here. Mir geht's gut. I'm walking about in the nice sunny weather this afternoon. Oh, that sounds really cool. Couldn't do that today though, because it was really like rainy and gray and everything, and still is. So yeah, autumn has definitely befallen Germany in a way, you know, has definitely begun. Der Herbst, by the way. In German, we actually have just one term, whereas in English you can say fall or autumn, you know. Der Herbst. I like the new channel name. Thank you very much, Tiffany. That's great to hear. I do too. I'm still in the process of changing all of my almost 800 videos. Like, I'm basically going down from the most recent ones to the first ones. And right now, I'm in the middle of 2018, I think, so I have worked from 2022 to 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018. But that also means that I still have like 3.5 years to go in terms of, changing the video description with the new links, because the Patreon link has changed, for instance, or, it's pretty much also the social media links, everything, I knew that beforehand, and I just have to do it, once and for all, and then it's, yeah. Then it's done. And then I also want to come up with a new avatar, for instance, profile pic and everything, and I also have to make a new introductory video sequence, a little new intro. So definitely some things left to do before I can really get back to my usual video work process, Will still take a few days. So just so you know. Ren Shivu, hi! Thanks for tuning in, Ren. Dave, do you have a recommendation for learning German? Lingoda, Duolingo, Babbel, or anything else? That's a tough question to answer because I don't use those apps, because I'm not like a language learner in the active sense of the word. So I can't, it would be wrong for me to say this one is better than that one. I have worked with one of those companies before, so I could be biased either. Anyway, so I can't really answer that, Ren. I'm really sorry. I think most language learning apps these days, the big ones at least, are all really good, I think. I wouldn't, maybe not equally good, because maybe one app has a different focus than other apps might have, that are similar. I don't know. So I don't want to say, or I don't want to shout out anyone or recommend anything in that sense, because I simply don't know too much about it. So yeah, but of course you guys, if you know or use a language learning app and you say, or you think, well, that's a great app, it has really helped me, feel free to share it with Ren and share your experiences, so he actually can make up or they can make up their mind better. Do you like autumn? For me, it's my worst season. I actually like autumn quite a lot, especially the leaves, when it's like really colorful, red and green and yellow and brown, and the mixture of all of that, and going out for a walk. Where I'm living in the Sauerland region in West Germany, we have a lot of nature and forest region here, forest area, and I just love going for a walk when it's autumn, because of what I just said. It's so colorful, and beautiful and everything, and full. So it's great. I like it. Let's put the pumpkin spice lattes away and bring back the iced coffees. I'm not ready for fall yet, to be honest. Yeah, I think the change from summer to fall is the most drastic and the most annoying one, partially, because of course, most of the time, even though you might be complaining about the high temperatures when it's summer, most of the time, many people, at least in Germany, we are Germans, we're complaining every time and every single day about anything and nothing really, to be honest. because we're really good at that. But apart from that, you know, it's interesting because I think summer always seems to end too early and autumn always seems to begin too early, you know. I don't know. That being said though, I still love both. I like summer and I like autumn, but for different reasons, basically. So, and also the time that interlaps, you know, the summer autumn days or the autumn like summer days. And as well, you know, especially the change from winter to spring. When you have like a really sunny early spring day, which is still really cold. You know, the sun is shining, but it's quite cold. I also like that a lot, especially going out for a walk, you know, when it's that kind of weather. Yeah. I like the fall because the temperature is perfect. I drink iced coffee even when it's the coldest days of winter. I'm addicted to it. See? Nothing wrong with that, I don't think. The worst things to be, you know, addicted to. I don't use an app to learn German. I rely on this channel. That is cool, Mr. Lincoln Jason, but I think it's also, you know, when you really want to learn a language properly, you shouldn't just rely on one source. That is my, you know, I mean, you know, I'm flattered by you saying that, of course, but I don't see myself as pretty much the prime source for doing that. So, I don't know. By the way, I hope the stream looks fluid and everything, because my streaming encoder just mentioned that, you know, the bitrate is a bit low. Feel free to tell me if it lags for you or anything. Because I can't really see that while I'm live streaming. That's always the problem with that. Duolingo is good for starting. I also like Seedlang for German. Okay, Seedlang, I don't know that. You know what? It has been quite a while since I actually made a sponsored video. May do that in the future again. We'll see. So yeah, I'd definitely be interested in checking those things out, and if I think they are a good resource for learning German, not like as a standalone resource, but as an additional one, the same way I see my channel actually. It shouldn't be a standalone resource for learning German, and it can't be because, you know, even though here and there I also mention grammar, still I did that way more often in my early days. Nowadays I'm more focused on vocabulary and, you know, words and phrases, expressions. I wouldn't say that my channel is, you know, or should be the only source for learning German, and it can't be because, as I've said before, it doesn't really cover all the aspects when it comes to learning a language. So yeah. I like Duolingo a lot, but it's a little repetitive, but maybe that's the point. Maybe, yeah. I mean, repeating things also helps you remember things in a way. So, but of course it should remain fun all the time, you know. Otherwise it doesn't make sense to learn something, and you won't remember it or memorize it easily. Dave, follow-up question. How did you learn English so well? Thank you very much for the compliment. Well, a huge part of that answer would be through making these videos on YouTube. Because even though I always had like a little affinity toward languages, also back in school, when I learned British English, because in most German schools you learn British English and not American English, I wasn't really as fluent when it came to, you know, speaking English. back in the day. And it really came with making these videos and getting to know people through that, through my very good friend Get Germanized, for instance. I actually met really cool people through him from Canada, for instance, or from the USA, from other parts of the world. And by having a conversation with them and making these videos and pretty much coming to the point of actively speaking English almost on a daily basis, it just came as a natural conclusion, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I think that's the answer. And once again, I don't want to mention myself or put myself on a pedestal in any way, shape, or form, or, say, I'm the role model for anyone learning language, because I sure am not. I think it also comes down to, a certain skill preference, if that makes sense, because some people are better in terms of understanding, learning, and using, mathematics, for instance, while other people rather lean toward languages, and I'm of the latter category. I belong to the latter category, definitely. So you can't really compare that anyway, but what I want to say is the fact that I'm using it on a daily basis, and that has also helped me to enrich my vocabulary and my understanding, that definitely has helped me. Yeah. And maybe it can also help you, and that is one of the reasons why I keep saying, immerse yourself with the language when you want to learn German. If you know, I can say it that way actually. If you know a series by heart and you can, speak along to it, word by word, for instance, or a movie, try to watch that movie or that series in German. First, with subtitles, and maybe after a while, after doing that repeatedly, every now and then, you may not actually use or have to rely on the subtitles anymore, because it's basically worked as a listening practice for you. In a way that may also, one of the purposes of my podcast, the German podcast, which is available on all common podcast platforms out there, whether it's Spotify, Apple, or podcast apps. It's a podcast in German with me speaking German the way I speak German on a daily basis, which means not overly slowly or articulate, just my natural way of speaking German. And that's one of the ideas of that podcast as well, the German podcast. That is the link to the hub page with all the links to the respective platforms and everything. So I hope I answered that question okay-ish, and I hope I'm still online and live, because my the connection seems to be a little incoherent today. I don't know. Duolingo isn't bad for basic vocab sentence structure, I've seen, but it's very simplistic and limited if you're the kind of person who reviews the words and definitions like in a textbook format. Okay. I don't complain until it's humidex in the 40s. I love the hot weather. It's funny actually, because today I was asking my Amazon Echo, what is the optimal temperature for a fridge? Der Kühlschrank, by the way. Der Kühlschrank, the fridge. And she kept replying with Fahrenheit temperatures. I don't know why. I was asking, what is the perfect At first I was asking in a general way. I was asking, you know, what is the optimal temperature for a fridge? And she kept saying like something between like 30 and 40 degrees Fahrenheit, I think. And then I actually specifically asked for what is the perfect Celsius temperature for a fridge. And she kept answering with Fahrenheit. And I was like, why? We don't use Fahrenheit in Germany. Yeah. So that was an interesting thing. And once again, it also showed me that, you know, it's interesting how we all live on the same globe, yet we have different systems for the same things. And yeah, it's just, you know, every single time that occurs to me, it really is interesting. By the way, feel free to tell me if the music's too loud or too low in the mix, you know. Using the German Wikipedia, or as we say in Germany, Wikipedia, is fun, and there's plugins to highlight the words for translations. Oh, okay, interesting. That's cool. Probably because it's American, yes, but you know, when I'm using it in German, and the German engine, you know, the voice engine, is really, really good, and it's also set for Germany and German and everything, so there shouldn't be a reason for that thing to answer or reply with Fahrenheit as a unit, you know. But yeah, it was fun. I don't know. And yeah. We use Celsius in Canada, thank goodness. Goodness. Ah, yeah. I think it's only like 5 or 6 countries in the world that use Fahrenheit, if I'm not mistaken. Just a really, really small percentage of countries. And it's interesting because Fahrenheit, as a physicist, was German. And in Germany, we use the Celsius scale, who was a Swede, you know, a Swedish person. Celsius. And yeah, it's always interesting, those differences, you know, in terms of culture and systems and units and everything. I also made a video about that, by the way, a couple of years ago, where I actually compared or mentioned the German common units for shoe sizes or for clothings or for temperature, speed, you know. Because, once again, when it comes to speed, in Germany we use kmh, kilometers per hour. We don't use miles, we use kilometers. So, once again, a difference. And yeah. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think 1 kilometer equals 1.6 miles, approximately. I think so. I could be wrong. That's the way I remembered it, at least. I don't know. Yeah. I also have to keep in mind that whenever I'm gonna travel to the USA for the first time in my life, I have to think of the different, you know, wall plugs, the different plugs for, you know, electricity and different machines and everything, because yeah, that's also different. German plugs look different, you know, compared to US American ones. You know. Yeah. Bérangère, I think it may be, you know. Thanks for tuning in. Hi. Hello. I think you are a new viewer. Is that true? Isn't it the other way around? What do you mean? You'll need a Reiseadapter. it might be, yeah, maybe. But I mean, it basically is, isn't it what I just said? Like 1 kilometer equals 1.6 miles. So, but maybe I'm getting things wrong here. Okay. Thanks for clearing that up. And I hope I didn't butcher your name. If I did, I'm sorry. Didn't do it on purpose, of course, but I see. I see. I wonder what it's like, you know, whether it's possible when an American travels to Germany and they bring their own car, their American car with, you know, mph, miles per hour, with them, and they drive on German streets and on the Autobahn. And in Germany, as I've said before, we use kilometers, not miles. If that is a big problem for them to get used to, or whether it's easier than I may think, I don't know. That's an interesting question, though. I mean, that would also apply the other way around, I think. You know, a German bringing their German car with kmh, Kilometer pro Stunde, kilometers per hour, to the US and driving there. I think it's, by the way, that's very kind of you to say, Mr. Lincoln Jason. Appreciate it. I think it's also interesting when it comes to, you know, Germans driving in the UK, because in Germany we have the steering wheel on the left-hand side and we drive on the right lane. And in the UK, of course, you know, it's the other way around. So it's pretty much mirrored. Most of our cars also have kilometers per hour. Listed on the speedometer. I didn't know that. That is, wow, okay, that is handy. That comes in handy. Wow, I actually didn't know that. But I mean, it makes sense that it features both, because I think in Germany, like, modern cars might also have that. You know, you can switch between kilometers per hour and miles per hour. Yeah, definitely makes sense to include both in a globalized world. All the digital dashes can, as far as I know. Yeah, I mean, the shouldn't be a problem for the digital ones anyway. I don't think so. That definitely makes sense. I took my car to the garage to be fixed, and they accidentally left it on kilometers, and it was very confusing when I saw that. Oh yeah, I can imagine. Miss Clarissa, I can imagine. Speed signs are only in miles, though. Same in Germany, although, you know, the other way around. Speed signs are only in kilometers per hour. So that is a bit tricky. I mean, I guess that will also be adjusted in the future when the standard speed signs that we have nowadays that are analog will be swapped against or swapped in, substituted with electric and digital ones. Then I think they may also include that. I could see fit. Definitely wouldn't make sense, because it would be strange to, you know, to basically have the one part of it, but the other part is still, you know, just the one side and the one part of the information. So yeah, I don't know. My car has a digital speedometer, so it toggles back and forth. Okay. I see. Huh. I see. Modern technology. It's astounding. Really astounding. It sure is. Guys. By the way, the last video or the most recent video that I uploaded, as you might have seen, is a reaction to the Taylor Hawkins tribute concert that took place in London on September the 3rd. But as I've actually read the other day, I think the upcoming one in LA on September 27th will not be live streamed, apparently. Which, I mean, you know, in Germany, it would actually be live streamed in the middle of the night because of the time zone difference. But so I couldn't really watch it anyway when it's live. I actually had to record it. Or I would have to. So, but yeah, that's sad. It is. Scale of 1 to 10, how scary is the Autobahn really? You know, depending on whom you're asking in Germany, you will get like 10 different, 10 different answers to that. Because, you know, if you asked me, I would say I didn't really, you know, I'm not really driving all too much these days anyway. Thanks, Miss Clarissa. Appreciate it. I've never been a fan of driving on the Autobahn, really, because I feel like many drivers, not all of them of course, but many drivers have a tendency to be more aggressive on the Autobahn. And when I want to drive, you know, I want to drive in a chill way, and I want to get from A to B, you know, just like that. I don't want to be involved in aggressive behavior by others. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to deal with that stuff. And the probability of that happening is higher on the Autobahn, and the faster you go, I feel. And that is one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of driving on the Autobahn, or driving like overly fast anyway. I mean, as I've said before, I'm not really driving all too much anyway these days, because I don't need to most of the day, because, you know, my work is only a few meters away, and when it comes to like groceries, I actually get that delivered, so I actually save quite some money when it comes to, you know, not having to use the car all too often these days at the moment. And to be honest, I don't really miss it. But if you were to ask other people in Germany, they might answer in a completely opposite way. They might say, to me, it's the best feeling to drive fast on the Autobahn. And, you know, if they want to do that, as long as it's secure, and as long as they don't harm anyone else with their, you know, driving, of course, you know, to each their own, I think. But yeah, I don't need that personally. I love your background, very gothic. It's yeah, some of you might actually recognize it, because it's taken from a video game. And it's one of the first levels in that game that you can enter. The level is called Dark Hollow. And maybe some of you may know, feel free to guess from which game this is actually from. From which game this is from. That's doubled. Anyway, you know what I mean. Feel free to guess. Would you ever drive a motorcycle? No, I don't think so. Never had the urge to do that. I mean, there was only like one time, once in my life, many years ago, 12, 13 years ago, where I actually sat behind the driver of a little like scooter, you know, little Motorroller, that is in German. And I didn't really particularly enjoy that ride, which doesn't, it didn't have anything to do with the person, but it's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. And for instance, Get Germanized, like in streams or anything, but he actually has a driver's license for a motorcycle, and he actually made that when he was 16, I think. And then he was, or like he had a little accident, nothing too bad, luckily, but ever since then he doesn't drive a motorcycle anymore, even though he could, because he has a license for it, but he only drives cars now, and I totally get that. I would do the same, and I would feel the same as well. As I've said before, to me, I know why people I get why people like driving a vehicle, whether it's a car or like a motorcycle, and I also get the fun or the adrenaline rush basically that you get when you drive fast and you're free to go and no one's in front of you and everything. I get that, why that is, but at the same time it just doesn't give me anything, because I'm a practical person in many things in life. When it comes to many things, I just want to get from A to B, and I don't have to have that adrenaline rush. Totally understandable. There are even a few highways or freeways here that scare me because of how aggressive the drivers are. So I can easily imagine it being the same elsewhere too. Yeah. I mean, not everyone, of course, but there are definitely some aggressive drivers in Germany. I know how you feel about the Autobahn. I used to have huge problems around Kamener Kreuz. Oh yeah, the Kamener Kreuz is really a thing. And Hannover, both really, really annoying places to drive. I think especially Hannover these days. I mean, Kamener Kreuz still, which basically is both like Autobahn crossings, if you will, in a way. I guess you can call them that. And you may be stuck in many traffic jams there, and it's yeah. By the way, Phil, hi, thanks for tuning in. Sorry if this is an obvious question, but why is it that Germany is so bread focused? Is it historical, like good wheat lands or such? I just know there's so much tasty bread there. I'm jealous. That is an interesting question. Maybe it may also work as an interesting video topic for me, because I don't think I've actually made a video about that topic, even though I'm aware of it. Gonna write that down. But to answer your question spontaneously, well, I think it definitely has something to do with, Germany having its roots in agriculture. Like lots of agriculture back in the day, many farmers that lived in Germany, and I think, or I could imagine, that it stems from those times, that we have so many sorts of bread up to this day, and I like it as well. I love it, and I know that we are famous for our bread and how much there is, how many different sorts we have, but the exact origin I can't really pinpoint. Even though it's an interesting topic, definitely. So I'm actually may do a video about that. Thanks for the suggestion. And by the way, if you have video suggestions, like video topics that you would like me to talk about in terms of the German language and culture and everything, feel free to suggest them. I can't promise anything, of course, but yeah. Pumpernickel, yes, I really like Pumpernickel as well. By the way, interesting anecdote. The noun Pumpernickel always reminds me of a bodybuilding rabbit. It sounds really strange and random, I know, but the reason is as a slang term in German for someone who works out and lifts weights and everything and is a bodybuilder, for instance, we would say, der Pumper, the pumper, the pumping person, in the sense of, lifting weights. Der Pumper. I'll write that down real quick. Weightlifting in that context. And nickel is pretty much the second half of the term das Karnickel. Which is basically a rabbit. So hence my creative and abstract association there. But every single time I keep reading and hearing that term, Pumpernickel, I think of, a really strong rabbit working out and everything. So, may also be a nice little video idea. Pumpernickel. Yeah. That's my brain in a nutshell. And by the way, another similar thing that always kept confusing me as a child. You may know of the term the Musketeers. In German, that is die Musketiere. I think it's Musketeers in English, right? Musketiere. Musketeers. I have to actually look that up real quick. Musketeer. Musketeers, yeah. And as a child, I kept mishearing that term. Because to me, it always sounded like die Muskeltiere, the muscle animals, As a literal translation, and it's stupid. It's totally stupid, but I love stuff like that. I happen to have a question about a possible video. Feel free to share it. Just yesterday I learned that kaputt was a German word. Yes. My German grandma always said it, and so did my dad, and then passed to me. It was only after seeing it spelled that I realized. Yes, it's a German term, and that is also one of those words that I think some Germans may not know how to spell properly. Because they may actually spell it with like 2P and 2T. Some may only spell it with like 2P and 1T. But the correct spelling is the way you wrote it, actually, Nico. Kaputt, which means like broken or defect, muscle animals, yeah. That is a candy bar here. The Three Musketeers. I see. Would you consider making a video about the breaking up of the band Umf? I mean, they haven't really broken up though. They still keep going strong, and they are actually in the process of recording their new album with a new singer, so they haven't really broken up as far as I know. Yeah, I'm really curious to find out who the new singer is gonna be, because Dero, of course their previous singer, he definitely had a really unique voice, one that I also really liked. Back in the day, I actually made a video about the song Augen auf, and which pretty much is their most well-known song. And yeah, it's an interesting band, definitely. Phil, forgive my asking because I have never heard you reference it, but where in Deutschland are you from or living? I ask because when I lived there for 8 years and your accent sounds almost NRW, North Rhine-Westphalia that is, Nordrhein-Westfalen, the most western German state, and also the biggest in terms of population, with almost 18 million people living here. Yes, I am from NRW, NRW, and specifically the Sauerland region, Sauerland, which is in like East NRW. And as I've said before, you know, it's a lovely region because you have so many green spots here, so much nature, so much forest area. We're pretty much surrounded by forests everywhere, and it's really great for hiking. We have lots and lots of hiking trails, really different, you know, and various different ones. Yeah, it's great. I like this region a lot. So yeah, I was actually seeing the two T's in Kaputt that made me realize it was German. Ah, okay, interesting. My favorite is Labyrinth. Yes, that's a cool one. That definitely is a cool one. They had one album that I wasn't really too fond of it. I think it's, what was it? I think it was the 2012 one, which was a bit more like softer and didn't really suit the band all too well, I don't think. But that's just me. I wasn't really a fan of that one all too much, to be honest. But you know, the Wahrheit oder Pflicht album, on which, you know, there is Augen auf, for instance, their breakthrough single or hit single. That is a great album, pretty much from start to finish. And actually, you know, I may have an album listening party for that one upcoming, up and coming at some point. Who knows? Gonna write that down. Wahrheit oder Pflicht. It's called Truth or Dare. Wahrheit oder Pflicht. I wonder what is going on with Dero, I must say. I mean, from what I know, he became a strongly believing Catholic Christian, and he doesn't feel like it's appropriate for him to sing the old songs anymore, because in the old songs he basically criticized religion quite often. And, you know, so yeah, I mean, from his point of view, I totally get that, that he doesn't feel like with his newfound belief that he can, or faith, that he cannot sing those songs anymore. So I think it was the only possible option for them to part ways. It's sad because, as I've said before, I think he has a great voice, but if that's the way it is, that's the way it is, you know. What can you do? That being said, though, I'm really curious, as I've said before, who's going to be the new singer for Oomph. It's very interesting. Normally you see it go the opposite way, where a band or band member leaves religion. Yeah, also happens. Definitely. Definitely. But it's very tragic. He's got a beautiful voice. I mean, I think he is recording as a solo artist. He keeps recording, so he's not like gone in that sense, but he's just not like recording with Oomph anymore. So yeah. But you know, the old songs still remain there. You know, you can still listen to the old songs. So that's the way it is. I mean, people change, life changes things. That's just normal. I think he also wrote the lyrics. Yeah, he was the singer and lyricist, as if I'm, you know, at least mostly if not exclusively for Oomph. So we'll see. So far, they haven't really announced anything regarding the new singer, not even like a hint or anything, I don't think so. Or as far as I know. So we'll see. We'll see. Back when I was like a teen, I really enjoyed listening to them a lot. Especially the 3 albums like Wahrheit oder Pflicht, Glaube, Liebe, Tod, and I think the next one was called Monster, I think. Those 3 albums in, you know, consecutive order. Yeah, that was like a strong series of albums for them, I feel. And then they continued with that album that I didn't really care too much about. Because of its difference in style and everything. So, and then they came back, I think, with like XXV, I think it's called. Fuck off. Sorry for the swearing, but date yourself. So, yeah, that's what I can actually tell you about them. I just found out about them. I feel bereft. Yeah, it's sad, but as I've said before, they haven't broken up, so they will continue for the time being. And the statement that they released actually also said that they have split amicably. And they couldn't actually handle it any other way, apparently, so it was the only viable option for them. But what I wanted to say is, like, I think XXV, I think XXV, the album, was like a comeback album for them, in my opinion. And then they actually released Ritual, which I think was the last album with Dero, was released in 2019 or so, which was also heavier again. So, yeah. My Frauline Pinkriense says the background is from Spyro, but she thinks it's level 2 in Artisans. She may be correct about that. Cheers, by the way. Greetings. Yes, it's correct. It's from the level Dark Hollow in the first homeworld of Spyro the Dragon, the first Spyro game. And this one is taken from the PS4 remake, which is fabulous. Great remake, actually. And the same is true for the second and the third installment of the series and those remakes. Swearing is justified. I'm not like someone who swears all too often, to be honest. But when I do, you know, sometimes with that bullshit there, I have to actually do it. Charles Ryu, thank you for being a supporter, a channel member for 10 months. Wow, already. That is awesome. That is really, really awesome. Thank you very much for that support. It really makes a difference and it really means a lot. Thank you. Alexis Zorba. Hello Dave, I hope you're going well. Do you like Einstürzende Neubauten? I really enjoyed their last record, Alles in Allem. I don't really know too much about them. I know I have listened to 1 or 2 songs by them and I did enjoy them. I don't know what they were called though. I know that I think Blixa Bargeld, the singer and the frontman, is a very interesting personality. Especially when I've seen like 1 or 2 interviews with him, and he seems to be a well-reflected and smart person, which I always dig. So, but apart from that, I don't really know too much about them. So I can't really say anything about them really. But I know that they were really important for the German music scene back in the 80s as well, up to nowadays. And I know that Blixa Bargeld also played in the Bad Seeds, the Nick Cave band, for quite a while. I think up until 2003, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. Oh my gosh, I see it now. It's the remaster, right? Yes. Yes, it is the remake. Yeah. So much nostalgia. Yeah, I love nostalgia, of course, and I also especially love Spyro. And I also love PlayStation 1 games. Medieval, for instance, with Sir Daniel Fortescue, one of my favorites. Also, of course, Crash Bandicoot. There are so many great games from that era. I actually recorded a podcast episode about PlayStation 1 games a couple of months ago. So if you want to listen to that, check out the German podcast. My German podcast, as the title actually hints at, you know. Yeah. I heard that Crash Bandicoot noise in the name change. Yeah, the crystal sound. Yeah. Well spotted. Yeah. Awesome, Nico. Appreciated. Yes. Even though I'm a bigger Spyro fan than I'm a Crash fan, to be honest. Don't mind Crash, but if I had to choose, which I luckily don't have to, but if I had to choose, I would definitely choose Spyro. Because that purple dragon really was a huge part of my childhood, and still is. I still like him a lot to this day. And I think especially the first 3 games are just like masterpieces when it comes to 3D platformers of the PlayStation 1 era. So, yes. So I'd say, like 7-ish more minutes, and then I'm gonna call it a day for today. A little shorter, this time around. But as I've said before, I still have to actually change the video descriptions for my videos, and the faster I get that done, the better it is for the algorithm and for SEO and everything. So but I still wanted to make this live stream for you guys, the first stream under the new moniker, the new name, definitely. And I just love the name, to be honest. I really like it. I hope you do too. And it may also be suitable for, maybe like slogans on shirts at some point. If some of you may be interested in that, we'll see. It's definitely a great choice. Thank you. And the noise is very beautiful. I will definitely check them out, Alexis. Blixa Bargeld is very interesting. He definitely is, yeah. Most definitely. I love it. I love it. Ich liebe es. Definitely. It's interesting because, as I've said in the update video as well, it works both ways. It works in German and it works in English. Because in German you can also say definitiv, which is the exact German equivalent of definitely. So that pun works in both languages. That was another reason why I chose it, actually. So we need a print of you in the baseball cap with a salute. Yeah. I actually, I don't know. I either have to find a way to carefully clean up my cap because it's kind of dirty, as you can see, or I have to get a new one if I can't really clean it all too well without it, changing shape and everything. I don't know yet. We'll see. It was a long time that I actually wore it, so yeah. We'll see. By the way, the only downside is really, without, apart from me having to change all those video descriptions and everything, but one of the other downsides is that this, wait a moment. Yep. This, isn't really up to date anymore in terms of that. Because that, as some of you might know, first of all, if you want to send me something, for instance, you can find my PO box address in the video description. But apart from that, this one was sent to me in I think 2017 or so. And I usually make fan mail unboxings. I don't really particularly like the term fan, but you know what I mean. Mail unboxings, let me put it that way. And I also unboxed this one back in the day. And when I opened this, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know beforehand. I had to cry. I really had to cry, and I was overwhelmed by that. This is beyond amazing, and it's, it's really cool in a way. How should I put it? It really shows me that, apart from your support, of course, by liking, commenting, sharing my videos on Patreon, for instance, which also really, really, really helps a lot, and allows me to spend the time that I spend on making videos, next to my usual stuff that I do on an everyday basis. This stuff like this really shows me that what I'm doing may have an impact for people, or on people. And it may help them in several ways. It may simply entertain them. It may help them. It may be beneficial in some way or another. So it's nothing, There are many different genres on YouTube, which is cool. And many different people, many different creators making many different things. But I think, and I don't want to sound arrogant, but I think there is some type of content, and I think every one of us knows that sort of content, which is basically, making fun at the expense of others, pranks that are not like funny pranks, but really horrible pranks and that kind of stuff. I don't think it really happens all too often anymore. I could be wrong, but there was a time a few years ago when that was really common, also on the German YouTube scene. And stuff like this keeps reminding me that sort of, hopefully, what I'm doing is something that has a purpose. And yeah, that's the way I feel about it. I don't know. By the way, this was made by Gabby Powell. Shout out to her. Shout out to Gabby. This is, yeah, it leaves me speechless still to this day. So anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna end the stream for today. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, and I'm gonna let you know if I will actually have some sort of merchandise at some point, because I definitely have some ideas that I could try out. I don't know if you guys may be interested in that or not. I may just offer it for those who may want to have it. But yeah, we'll see. And by the way, if I didn't overlooked some of your questions, I didn't do it on purpose, of course. Feel free to ask me then that question or those questions in the next live stream, for instance. So yeah, thanks again for watching, everyone, and thanks for your support. Back in the day when I ran this channel as Vlog Dave, and now as Definitely, it can be taken for granted, and I don't take it for granted. I have never taken it for granted, and I will never do that. And yeah, so thank you, just thank you once again for everything, and gonna see you around. I think I'm gonna have like another live stream next month, I think, most definitely, because as I've said, I want to have like one proper like AMA Q&A live stream like this one at least once per month. I also have planned some potential album listening party live streams for the future, for different artists and different bands, you know. So, and also of course, you know, as a mixture of album reaction plus German lesson. So yeah, it's always fun. Feel free to tune into those as well. Thank you. Once again, have a great day, great rest of the weekend, and we definitely will see each other again in the next couple of videos. I almost wanted to say I'm your Vlog Dave, but no. But anyway, definitely thanks for watching. Tschüss und bis zum nächsten Mal. Bye, guys.